It's your girl Nancy Red, and this is season 3 of Mompreneurs, where every week we celebrate beautiful Black entrepreneurs who are simultaneously killing it as amazing business moguls and awesome moms. We're listening to their life stories and inspiring advice. And my next guest I have been in love with for years, as she has come into her own as not just an incredible TV journalist, but also as a business owner and beauty influencer. Mara S. Campo is goals, okay? She is a 4-time Emmy Award winner. She is a #1 podcast host. And if that's not enough for you, she somehow finds the time to actually pursue her passion, and not just as a passion, but as a business. She posts amazing hair and makeup tutorials that go viral all the time, racking up over 100 million views. And you all know that is ridiculously difficult to do, but she seems to make it look really easy. So we're excited to talk to her about what is the magic behind her mompreneurship. Welcome, Mara. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure. And I feel no pressure because it's mompreneurs. My kids are home, and normally I would be really stressed that they're gonna make really loud noises, but I think the moms will understand.
We will totally understand, and that's exactly what's so fun about this show. We have kids popping in all the time, pets, because the beauty of what we do is we are multifaceted, and we don't just have a laser focus on our little business hustle. It's a whole bunch of stuff you have going on in your house.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a zoo. It's a circus.
Okay, so before we get into your mompreneurship, talk to us about who makes you a mom. Tell us about your household, aka your zoo.
So my husband is Tommy, and we have 2 kids together. Nina is 12, and my son Cruz is 8.
Aw. And so when you look at the trajectory of your life, would you consider yourself an entrepreneur before you became a mom, or did becoming a mom encourage you to become an entrepreneur?
You know, it's interesting. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and that was one of the things that really helped me advance very quickly in journalism because I started out as an independent journalist. So I was a freelancer, I was traveling around the world doing international work by myself. So at the time, this was in 2005, at the time, there were very, very few people who were working like that. I was one of like a handful. And so, unbeknownst to me, I was part of a group that was pioneering a new form of journalism, today known as digital journalism. And today it's incredibly common to have a producer shoot and produce and edit and do all those things. But at the time, people weren't really doing that. And so that's how I ended up in network television, because when the networks learned about what I was doing, then I got recruited by everybody at the same time. And then that's what started that phase of my TV career. But it was really the entrepreneurial spirit of wanting to kind of go out and do my own thing and really bet on myself that led to all that.
Well, and I want to talk about how you bet on yourself, but even before you became a quote unquote traditional entrepreneur, we're going to talk about all of your influencing, the product you have, and everything. Like you said, the type of journalist that you were was relatively entrepreneurial, in particular because you weren't just a person reading the news. For the people who aren't in our field, talk to us about the difference between what you were trained as versus what a lot of people expect when they think of person on TV.
You know, I'm a reporter's reporter, which surprises a lot of people who know me through the hair videos and the beauty videos. I got a really funny comment on a post. There was Discovery ID had posted a clip of a show that I'm on, and someone in the comments said, "Is that the hair lady?" And then there were like a dozen comments after that. They were like, "It is the hair lady. Is she a journalist? Like, what's she doing on this show?" And so I just thought that was so funny because, I've been a reporter for 20 years. And I spent the first 10 years of my career in the field, like traveling internationally, covering, everything from conflicts to natural disasters. I spent, I remember one year I calculated the number of days that I had been home. I spent 9 months that year on the road. And I did that for years and years, where I would always say, you can't make plans with me in pen. They always have to be in pencil because at any given point in time, I was getting a phone call, I was on a plane. And then that training in the field really, really helped me when I started anchoring. I think the best anchors have been reporters because you have an understanding of what's happening in the field, you have an understanding of what's happening in the ground, you understand what your team on the ground is doing as their news gatherings. You can have better conversations with the reporters. And then when you're reporting live in the field, you have next to no resources in terms of like hair and makeup or teleprompter, or it's literally sometimes you and a camera person in the middle of nowhere. And that makes you very self-sufficient. And that's a skill that also really works well in anchoring. So it was very good training.
Right. So you're trained not only to be able to put the package together for whoever you're reporting for, but also how to put your face on. And I laugh because that's something I look to you and I am just like, this is goals. I have the worst time putting my own face on. Like me in a studio looks completely different than me right here in my own home studio, right? But
Yeah.
you figured out from the get how to make your best looks. And this is before Instagram. This is before social media. This is when it was just you and the camera in the middle of nowhere with some Maybelline.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's not like TV executives change their expectations or the audience changes their expectation if you're in a hurricane. They still expect your face to be beat. They still expect your hair to be done. So it doesn't matter if you're in a refugee camp, like you still have to look good. And so again, I just had to figure out how to do it. So I've put my lashes on I have put lashes on literally in a hurricane, like in the car, in the mirror because we were getting ready to go live. I have done my hair in every condition you can possibly imagine, like literally in a village in Central Africa with no electricity. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with these edges. I can't use any heat because can't plug anything in. Like I have had to make it work in the craziest conditions. And again, I think that's what really helps. A lot of people will say like, you're like MacGyver of hair. Like you're taking like two bobby pins and a matchstick and making it work. And that's a lot of it comes from that because I had to.
Okay, Mara, I know we're going to be talking about your product and your hair hustle. I really feel like another element of your businesses needs to be a TV show based on your travails, like beauty in these streets internationally with no
Beauty in these
support.
streets. I love that. That's what we're calling it.
But so when we look at this, okay, so obviously being a reporter not only helped you shape your anchor career, but also as an entrepreneur because you have to learn how to pivot. You also have the skills. When we're looking at how you transform from just a quote unquote employee. You've talked a lot about the difference between being an anchor, the difference between being on network and being signed to a contract, and being an independent like you were prior and you are now. If you, like, where was the transition? How did you go from just being laser focused on your journalistic career to expanding your horizons and recognizing that you were brilliant in many different facets?
When I left ABC in 2018, I made a decision not to get another network job. And I had to make that decision over and over again because opportunities would pop up and I had to decide whether I wanted to pursue them or not. And I was very clear in not wanting to be in that role for this reason. The network contracts are very, very exclusive, which is fine if all you want to do is focus on, say, reporting on a beat or anchoring, your show or whatever the case may be. But I really wanted to do a lot more. So for example, when you're under network contract, they own everything about you. They own your intellectual property. They own your face and your voice. They have to give you approval and permission to do any outside speaking engagements or participating in anything. They own your social media content essentially because you have to get clearance if you want to do something that's outside kind of the normal scope. And so when I was at ABC, I created a podcast. It was a health and wellness podcast called Motivated. It went to #1 on the iTunes charts in the health section. And when I left ABC, I couldn't take it with me, couldn't take the audience, couldn't take the feed, and they wouldn't even give me my analytics. So I didn't even know what my audience was. I didn't know which episodes had performed well or which ones hadn't. And it really underscored for me that this was not an arrangement that was going to work for me because the way the world works today, people are doing a lot of different things. And that's very much what I want to be doing. I want to be able to take advantage of this. Is like, for me, I'm like a kid in a candy store. For someone who has always done content in the form of journalism, the fact that now you can create in so many different places and so many different ways, like I want to sit at that table and eat everything. And I just couldn't do that in a network role.
All right, and what people don't realize, what you were saying is they have to approve it. What I didn't realize, quite frankly, until I started getting wrapped up in these types of contracts, they deny you opportunities. Like I didn't
Oh, all
realize
the
when
time.
I signed my first contract and I had sponsorship deals, and I didn't realize I was going to have to give them up. And I went to the people. I was like, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. They were just like, yeah, well, you work for us now. And I was like,
Yeah.
but I'm
And
me.
what you have to understand is, they're protecting themselves, they're protecting the brand, they're protecting their resource of you as an employee. And so I get that. And so then we, as the employees, have a decision to make. Is this an arrangement that you want to be part of or not? And for me, the answer was or not.
And that is really hard because we all know in our field, I always refer to it as the merry-go-round because I too have gotten off the merry-go-round of, climbing up the career trajectory, making it to the network show, like having a beat and deciding to say no. That is very difficult to do. So if you were given opportunities presented to you, saying no is very painful and difficult. How did you navigate making this decision to want to own your own content, to want to be yourself with the traditional prestige and security of a contract?
Nancy, it was actually very easy for me because there was no part of me that wanted to go back to that, like none. And that certainty made it a really easy decision. I knew for sure, and I know for sure, I will never again be a network news correspondent. That is not something that I want for my life. And so, if you're going to make a transition like that, you got to start. And the beginning is always the roughest part of any journey. So I just felt like, all right, well, I know this isn't what I want for my future. So why would I delay what I do want? So let me get in here and let me figure out how to make this next phase work.
Okay, so here you are at the beginning because now we're talking to you in the middle. You're not even anywhere near the end, okay? You are right here. You have over 100 million views across all the social media opportunities. You are still killing it in journalism in a myriad different roles. But when you first made that decision, you did not know this was in store for you, did you?
Yeah, and it's been a funny roller coaster ride because in the beginning I was like, "Oh, I'm going to come out here and crush it. I'm going to get this and this and this and I have this list of things that I want and all of them are going to happen. I'm just going to go down the list and check things off." And nothing got off the ground. And so then I was like, "Oh, no, I made a huge mistake. Maybe I should go back to the safety of what I know even though it's not what I want and I'm just going to be a failure and die on the vine." And then things started to pick up and then they got slow again. And then this latest phase has just been like being shot out of a rocket. So what it has done for me is like I have so like are we allowed to curse? Do you curse
Oh
on your
yeah,
show?
go ahead, sis.
Like I have chilled the fuck out like in a major way. I'm just like, you know what? I'm a passenger on this ride. I'm not driving. God is driving. And so I'm just gonna enjoy the ride.
I love that. And we love enjoying your ride. Like I said, I've been watching you and I've watched your evolution, which is actually what's really great because you do it all. And again, for anyone who's on her Instagram, it does seem like she's just the hair lady, but this is someone who behind the scenes is like we talk a lot about on Mompreneurs, the importance of IP creation, which again, related to a job or network contract, when you're in those, you can't create your own IP. You cannot own your own content, right? So we talk a lot about here about building wealth is one of the only ways you can do, in particular as a creator, is to own the stuff you're building, or else you end up like you did when you left ABC with no information about the amazing show that you had. So you pitch shows, you create shows, you produce shows, you host shows. You're currently the managing editor and an anchor at Revolt. You're hair lady. Talk to us about where you are now with what I call the hustle hierarchy. What makes that the bulk of your income and takes up the most of your time when it comes to all of your business angles?
That's a great question because what takes up the most time doesn't necessarily make me the most money, which I know it's supposed to be the inverse, right?
That's
So,
actually
what
really that's insightful.
Yeah. I was meeting with an executive coach many years ago and I was trying to figure out how to prioritize my time. And she said, "Well, which project is making you the most money?" And I told her, and she's like, "Well, that's the one you prioritize." And I was like, duh, you know? But actually, like, that's not the case right now. So I'm not following that advice. So the TV work is the most lucrative by far. But the TV work with that, I have a team. So I'm not, just one woman on an island. I have a team of really amazing people. And so I come in and I play my role, and it's kind of very clear what my role is. And I am 100% committed to it. I either, I have this belief that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if I say yes, you're going to get all of me. If I don't want to do it, I'm going to say no. I'm not going to come in with 30%. And so I do give 100% to that role, but I'm supported. With the hair stuff and the entrepreneurial stuff, I'm pretty much all on my own. Like I do have some support with I have an assistant and a project manager, but it's that's kind of more with logistical tasks and scheduling. But the 90% of it is just me in a mirror. And it's incredibly, incredibly time consuming. What I don't think that people realize is that most of the things I'm posting, I'm doing for the first time. It's not like I've done this style before, because if I'm doing styles that I've done before, you've all done them before. And I think what's exciting for people is seeing something new and fresh and learning how to do something new and fresh. And so I may have to do something 3-4 times before I'm ready to post it. So that's 6 hours of work just in trying to figure it out. I say that to say it's very, very time consuming. It's not quite as lucrative as I would like it to be yet. But it's also my joy. It's the most fun I've ever had in my life. And you can't put a price tag on that.
I love that. And that's the fun of it, right? When we talk about being a mompreneur, it's not just about some of us, not myself, they quit their job and they immediately just go full-fledged just into their business and ride or die. Other people have amazing things that bring them joy on the side, right? And so it's not a zero-sum game. But with the thing that you have on the side, the beauty of it is you said the word yet, which is what a lot of our listeners really do appreciate, because while right now it's not usurping the lucrative nature of your television career, that's not to say it won't, in particular because you've got some exciting things going on right now, right?
Yeah, I am incredibly confident that this is going to be very, very profitable. And I say that with confidence because I believe in what I'm putting into the universe. This is 100% divinely guided. 100%, not 10%, not 20%, 100%. So the fact that I am being obedient to the call that I'm hearing, and the fact that I really feel that I'm being of service to women makes me certain that it's going to start to pay off financially. I'm not going to do this, for pennies forever. I also am really confident in what I'm creating. So anytime I create something that I haven't seen before, a lot of things I'm copying, right? So there are certain trends that pop up, or not copying, I would say, but there are new beauty trends that pop up, like for example, crochet hair, right? That's really popular right now. So that I didn't invent that. I do a lot of those videos. But sometimes I'll do something that I haven't seen before. And so then I'll look it up. And if I don't see it in the marketplace, I file a patent application before I post the video. And so I have 8 patent applications for products that don't exist on the market that I think people are really, really going to be excited about. And that's what gives me a lot of confidence about the future of this business. So the first step is the hairline. So I just launched my hairline, Hair by Mara, and I'm starting with wigs, which is a very easy way to start because there's nothing proprietary about wigs. So I could just really focus on best quality hair, best quality craftsmanship, making sure that the price is something that the girls will be excited about. And then the next product that's coming out is my ponytail. So the ponytail is proprietary. It's patent pending. And when I posted it on social, that video went viral, more than 6 million views across platforms. And almost every comment was like, where can we buy it? Where can we buy it? Where can we buy it? So I was like,
I
okay,
remember. I saw it. I was very
the first
excited.
one. I have the prototype here. Do you want to see it?
Yes, yes, please. This is very
So
exciting.
it's evolved a little bit since I posted it. So this is the prototype. Okay. And basically and there, ignore how ugly it is. Again, it's a prototype. I literally made it
Yeah.
sitting at my desk. But it'll have comb clips, on the 4 spots. And what you do is you attach this with the leave out. So your hair's out. You attach this to the crown of your head. And it has a hole if you want to pull your own ponytail through it, but you don't have to. You can just do a braid down or a bun, and you attach this to the crown of your head, and then you pull your leave out over it to make what is like such a natural looking ponytail. Nobody can't tell you that God didn't give you this hair. It's like the most natural ponytail you've ever seen. And it's also really convenient if you wanted to do like an updo, because you can clip it in place and then curl it and pin it. And it's just amazing. Is like, I want to use it every day. And so that's my goal. Like, I'm really making things for my inner child.
You
So
are healing my child, and also you are so. This is so great. Like, you got these two kids, you got this husband, you have this TV job, you have this influencer stuff, but yet you still have time. You find the time to sit at your desk and make your prototype. Now, I say this as someone who also, with kids, a husband, TV channel, like a TV career, and all this stuff, also finds time to come up with my little raggedy patent, application prototypes at her desk. And so talk about the importance of this, because you are a serious reporter. You're not just some girl with a YouTube channel. You have serious reporting chops for NPR, Discovery, ABC. Talk about, when you say, you mentioned it casually, your inner child. Why is that so important to nurture, even though we're grown people?
That's where all of this whole hair phase, and this whole journey really came from me being in a dark place because I'd lost my parents. I lost both my parents within 18 months of each other. And we were just coming out of COVID, and COVID was really hard for me because I'm a very social person. So the isolation from lockdowns, like, it almost killed me. And so I was, trying to emerge from this really tough time. And there's a woman named Queen Afua who is a spiritual teacher and a wellness expert. And I started meeting with her, and she taught me something she calls impeccable listening. And she said, when you pray, don't tell God what you want, ask God what God wants from you. And so for the first time ever in my life, when I would pray, instead of running my mouth the whole time, this is what's bothering me, this is what I need, this is what I want, please, please, please. I just asked. I said, okay, how do I get out of this darkness? How do I heal? And the answer was very, very clear. Find your joy. And there was a footnote, which was also very clear. Every single day. Not on the weekends. Don't schedule it for vacation. Find your joy every single day. So then I had to ask myself, okay, what's something that I can incorporate in my life that brings me joy every single day? And the answer to that was completely obvious. It was the glam, because that's how I've always been since I was 5 years old. That's what cheers me up. That's what makes me happy. When I'm feeling down, I will go get dolled up for no reason if I'm not going anywhere. I'll do full wig, hair, makeup, lashes, the whole nines, just as like a mood booster. So I started doing that every day and posting it. And the fact that it has taken on this life of its own, to me, confirms that, like, wow, that God really was God. She knows what she's doing. How about that?
How about that? First and foremost, I'm so sorry for your loss. COVID was
Thank
very
you.
difficult, and to lose both of your parents so quickly, and to find the strength to figure out how to move forward constructively, it's very impressive.
Thank you.
It's a very good message for people listening and watching, to see that the ponytail got you through, girl.
Yeah, no, it really did. And you know what's funny, Nancy? I always hid kind of my love of things glam and beauty because I thought it undermined my credibility. So I thought that people weren't going to take, there are these cultural, societal stereotypes fueled by the patriarchy that, smart girls can't be pretty and pretty girls can't be smart. And so I didn't want to lead with that, or I hid it really because I didn't want people to think I was shallow. What I noticed when I would travel around the world, I would see women in the worst circumstances. I would see women in refugee camps. I would see women who had just lost everything, suffering after a natural disaster. I mean, every possible situation that you could think of, I saw women in these circumstances still adorning themselves, still putting on lipstick, still painting their nails, still sitting with other women and getting their hair done. Like in a tent camp, I saw women doing each other's hair. And I said to myself, you know what? Beauty is not superficial. It's not shallow. It's not skin deep. It has a spiritual component to it. When you're depressed, what's the first thing that goes? You stop getting adorned. You stop fixing your hair up. You stop putting on makeup. You stop wearing cute, colorful clothes. When you feel good, what do? You get all dolled up. Your outside is a reflection of your inside. And so that really, I've changed the way that I think about beauty and glam a lot.
I think that it's a message that we all need to hear, in particular because it is really hard sometimes to take the time for yourself, especially as a mom, and especially as someone who's trying to provide for a family. You think, okay, well, I got to put me last. But putting you first is actually what's bringing your family forward. I want to know at what point, though, did this become something that made you feel good, that's something that helped you heal? When did that turn into something that you knew there's a business here?
The first video that went viral, like I've never had a video go viral, and it's crazy when you're posting videos and you get 200 views in a week, and then you post one and you check it a couple minutes later and it has 200,000 views, and you're like, holy shit, like what is happening? And then you just watch it and it just won't stop. And so what that I learned from the comments. I really, I always say I love my community, but I really truly do love my social media community because they held a mirror up to me that I didn't see. And the mirror was like, wow, A, you're good at this, and B, we're really learning something, like, thank you. And so I realized what I had to offer them. And I really approached it as service. It probably sounds so corny. I could see people rolling their eyes, but I really did approach it as service. I'm like, look, for the other girls out there who were like me, who love this stuff, I'm going to show you how to do it and how to do it as cheaply and as quickly as possible. And it just took off. And then it was just like one after the other after the other. And it just affirmed for me that I was providing something that people really valued, which just feels really, really good. I try not to get too caught up on the numbers because I don't want us to get to a place where my self-worth is tied to those numbers. But it does feel really good that I'm giving people something that they enjoy and can use.
And when was that? And what was the video?
It was, and it's so crazy, Nancy. You know how there's all these things like you should post this time, this is the best time to post, and your video has to be this length, and all these hashtags. I was literally laying in bed Sunday morning. I had gone out the night before with some friends, and I shot my Get Ready With Me. And instead of posting the entire Get Ready With Me, I just posted the portion of me doing my hair because I was laying in bed Sunday and I was tired. And I was like, let me just post this. And it was a style that I used to do in high school. And so the caption was, I haven't done this since 1998. And I think that's what got people's attention. And then the fact that we're living in kind of vintage era. And so the style was really cute. It was like a Pam Anderson, like messy, curly updo. And I think it was just a combination of those two things. Because it was the nostalgic crowd who was like, oh, I used to do that too. And I used to put my ponytail in the microwave and I used to use a lot of body and all this. And then it was the kids who were like, oh my God, I love it. It's so cute. Thank you for showing me how to do it. So it just kind of bridged generations.
I love that. And wait, what year was this?
This was a year ago.
This is wild. So you're telling me just a year ago, you're laying in your bed, you have a little idea, you just post it, and then let's fast forward a year later, you have a product, you have some wigs,
Isn't that
you have
crazy?
100 million views
120
plus.
million now.
So you're
Not that we're
saying
counting, but
that okay, you it was just like 3 weeks ago that you had
I
100 million,
know.
and actually that's the beauty of you. One thing we can all learn from you, which I need to. The next question I'm gonna ask is how, sis. You are very consistent.
Mm.
Like you have a consistency that really shows up and shows out as, and that we should care about the numbers, but that is why you're able to get this done. How do you make the time? How do you say, okay, with all I have going on, I know you carve out time for your joy, but this is a little bit more beyond joy. This is actually making time each day for your business.
But when I tell you that it is how I play, so now I have an excuse to do the thing I want to do all the time anyway. So like I really is living the dream. Like when I'm doing other things, I hate to say this out loud because I'm very committed to my job and the work that I'm doing, but oftentimes when I'm doing those things, I'm thinking about the hair that I want to play with, So this is really I have so much fun with it. So when you ask where's the time, if I start braids at 8 o'clock at night and don't finish until midnight, that's not like a slog and I gotta like I'm having fun the whole time. I put on my music, I get a glass of wine, the dog's sitting in there with me. Like it's a vibe. I love it. And when you love something, it's hard to keep yourself from doing it.
Well, that's true, but you know what? It's also hard having a 12-year-old and an
I know.
8-year-old that
Yes.
require a lot of mommy's attention.
Yes.
How do they fit into this fold? How do they fit into Mara's TV extraordinaire, hair lady extraordinaire, mompreneur box?
It is a challenge because what I don't want to do is short them, like not give them, enough of me, so that they, are just not getting the mom that they need. So that really is my big tension in life is how to, feed my joy, but then also make sure that my children are tended to and really feel like I'm paying attention to them and I'm engaged. And so the way that I've really focused on doing that is spending time with them, doing things that I enjoy doing. Going back to your joy, right? So when they were little, I would always find myself doing these things I did not want to do. I do not want to play Calico Critters and pretending that the toilet is a swimming pool. And no, I really didn't. So then it's like a chore. And it occurred to me, if we're doing something we both want to do, then it's really quality time. And so I've identified with my kids, and it's different with each kid, what are the things that they really like doing and I really like doing? What's the overlap? So with my daughter, she actually loves to watch YouTube of art, of people like painting and doing art. And I love that too. So we'll watch those shows together. She loves to bake. So we bake together. With my son, he's very, very active. So it's like, okay, well, if we're going to do an activity, what's something I kind of like to do? I really like mini golf. Let's do mini golf. So trying to find things that we both like to do gives us like some quality time. They also think it's really, I have to tell you, parents are not cool. Parents are the least cool thing on the planet, especially when you're in the 8th grade. But the social media success gives me a little bit of cred with my kids. And so they're into it. Like when they see me, like,
I
oh my God, mommy, you have how many followers? So like I'm gonna ride this wave as long as I can.
That's and no, if you can get your kid, that's a big flex. These kids are over here looking at mom like, can you teach me? Versus what usually happens is we're looking to the other generation,
Yeah.
being like, can you teach us? Like you have caught this wave and ridden it. When a lot of us, in particular those of us in journalism, are slightly reticent, right? We were taught your professional side and your personal side, as you keep the hair lady hid.
Right.
Was there ever a moment, even in this discovery journey and this joy journey, where you did feel torn about the Clark Kent and the Superwoman side of you
Not
being
torn,
both
but
out there, like you said, like
I did feel like I was a little slow. Like sometimes you realize how, I hate to use the word dinosaur, but when the realization went off, I was like, oh, you're kind of like a dinosaur. I felt like I was a little slow to pick up on certain changes in the industry, and I think that's effect of age. And so to stay fresh, that's a choice that we make. Like to pay attention and to try new things and to stay on top of things and to look to learn from those who are behind you, not just those who have come before you. And so I strive to do more of that. So I did, I had this very TV mentality going into social media of like, lighting has to be great and I have to have good audio and the this and the that. And then I realized like all that matters is authenticity and consistency. Like that's really all that matters. Like the production quality, people don't really care that much. I mean, look at all these people shooting videos in their car who were wildly successful. Look at Tabitha Brown. Her first viral video, she was eating a sandwich in her car. And so that was a lesson that I had to learn of like, okay, this isn't TV. Everything doesn't have to be scripted and perfect. And like, you just have to be willing to be authentic and vulnerable and consistent. And so it took me a while to learn that. And then also, I felt very free by the fact that a lot of people now wear different hats. You have someone like Michael Strahan, who I adore. He's a personal friend and I really respect and admire professionally. He wears like 15 hats and it's accepted. There are a lot of people doing that who, they dabble in serious things, they dabble in lighter fare, and the audiences are used to that today.
that's a great point. And it is not a weakness, but a strength to be multifaceted and to acknowledge that. And I love what you said about being authentic and being vulnerable and not having your perfect face on, even though ironically you are putting on the perfect face
Right.
and hair, but you don't start off that way. You
No.
start off just butt naked face. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God, first of all, your skin is gold.
Well,
I don't know, maybe you need to do a skincare line. Uh, but who along the way helps you? I know you mentioned for TV you have help. Is this like a one woman band, or do you have like an editor, or do you have like people who give you ideas,
no, this is
or
a
a
one.
schedule, a content
No,
scheduler?
this is a one woman show. I have a note, a Google note, where I write down ideas when I have a hairstyle that I want to try. I spend a lot of time in the beauty supply store, and the great thing is that I live in Harlem, and so there's a beauty supply store in every corner, and the big ones are like the mecca of beauty supply stores. Like there ain't nothing you can't find, and so I spend a lot of time just roaming the aisles, looking at what's new and kind of getting inspired and trying to see what I can play with. And then I wish I could schedule things more because I would be a lot more efficient, but I'm such a creative at heart. I really just want to be moved. And so I kind of wake up in the morning and I'm like, what am I feeling? And I just do that. Like today I really wanted bangs. And so I cut, so these bangs are not attached to the wig. They're separate. So I cut bangs underneath
Oh,
and then I put the wig on top of it. I was like craving bangs. so,
that's
and
amazing.
so
That's
and
amazing.
so I did some bags. And so I just kind of go with what like my heart and my spirit is feeling, and then I do the editing and I post them. And I have this real paranoia that if I, and maybe I'm being too controlling, but that what makes them work, part of the authenticity is reflected in the shooting and the editing, and that if I seed those things, if I turn them over to someone else, it's going to lose some of me. So if I'm gonna delegate, it's not going to be that. Like my social media content is always going to be like me.
I love that. And if for anyone watching this who's like, oh, I want to do something like this, even if it's not hair, let's say their passion is anything. What do you think they need to do to get going? Because it sounds like to me you just using the phone. Do you have like an editing software you suggest? Do you have like any kind of ad situation? Do you have a book you read or a blog that you follow to kind of help you get in the zone and to get the information you need to make your videos make sense?
So I will say that this is where the TV really helped me because I've been editing literally since I was 12 years old. I went to like a communications magnet in middle school. So, those are skills that are helpful to have. And I use Final Cut Pro because I have it. I've had it always because of, the work that I do. But that's expensive. That's several $100s. I use it because it's fast for me. Like I can just whip up a clip really fast. But there's free editing software on your phone. I do shoot with it's like a point and shoot camera because the quality is better. And I have it attached to a Ring camera. But you can easily shoot with the back camera of your phone. I would suggest looking up videos on the camera settings because you can really improve the quality of your iPhone video and photos by changing the settings. But what I wouldn't want to do is say like you need these things to get started because I feel like a lot of people get stuck there. And they're like, well, I don't have the editing software and I don't have the point and shoot. Like we have never been in a time before where it is easier to communicate with the world and to be creative. All you need is your phone and an internet connection. You can literally do everything with just your phone. You can edit your videos in platform. You can edit them in Instagram and or on TikTok. So don't create excuses or boundaries. Just do whatever is easiest that you can do consistently. That's the important part. Ask yourself, how can I make sure I can do this consistently? Like, what are the logistical hurdles that might keep me from doing it? So, for example, my camera's always set up in my bathroom because that's a logistical hurdle where if I had to set the camera and the light up, I might not feel like doing it today. But because it's always set up, all I got to do is turn it on. So things like that. Just think about how you can make it easy to be consistent.
I have to laugh because what does your husband think when he's walking in the bathroom? The camera's always set up with the ring light, there's hair everywhere, prototypes strewn about.
I do have to say, my family is incredibly patient because it is exactly what you described. It's like I'm recording, there's literally bundles and bundles of hair all over the floor. They can't shower, my husband can't shower in the bathroom when I'm doing my hair because I'm like, no, the steam is going to mess up my hair. They are very, very patient and supportive, and they think it's fun.
No, the way I could describe it is because you are me. My entire chaos covers the house with my own personal things that I work on, and the children are just kind of like, I guess this is life.
Right.
My husband also supports it. Is there ever anything where they've given you advice that changed your game? Did your family give you a suggestion that really helped you pivot in a positive direction?
My kids did teach me a lot about social media, because that's what they watch is YouTube and YouTube Shorts, and that's pretty much all. They don't watch regular television. Like they could care less if
Which is
someone's.
wild. My kids don't watch any of the things I've done or do. There's nothing like that.
Isn't that crazy? I took my daughter to Good Morning America. She was literally in the studio during the commercial break. She's at the desk taking pictures with George Stephanopoulos and Michael Strahan. She could not care less. She found out that someone was on YouTube. She's like, "Oh my God, they have a YouTube channel." It's just a completely different world, right? But in that, they taught me a lot about, like, for example, the first time I shot a YouTube video, my daughter was watching me shoot it, and when I was done, she said, "You forgot to tell people to like and subscribe." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "You're right, I sure did." So I've learned a lot from them about that. I only started posting on YouTube, my YouTube Shorts, because they watch so many YouTube Shorts. And otherwise, I always think of YouTube for longer form videos, and so I don't really do YouTube, so to speak. And they were like, "Just post your shorts." Now I have 12,000 YouTube subscribers just from posting my shorts, which I was already creating and posting on Instagram and TikTok. So they've taught me a lot about how this generation is consuming media.
Ah, I love that. Okay. Our time is almost up, but I cannot let you leave without participating in my favorite segment called Mompreneurs Manifestation, where I always ask all of our guests what's next for you or what you're hoping comes next and how we can help to manifest success in this endeavor for you.
I really appreciate that. So I am manifesting a very successful launch of my ponytail. I'm
Yeah.
manifesting that the girls are going to love it, that it's going to sell really well and make mama a lot of money. I am manifesting that some of my other proprietary products that I'm really excited about get manufactured and come to the world. And that I just can be of service to women. I know it sounds corny, but it really is what fuels me.
It does not sound corny. Look, I laughed because when you said you had 8 patents. Step one, are you a lawyer in some secret other world of yours? Because
Applications are patent pending.
okay, so you haven't done the full rigmarole, but you had to
They're in
get the
process.
patent drawings. Okay,
Oh yeah, yeah,
they're in
they're in
process.
process. So I'm working with
Yeah.
an attorney, but they haven't. I mean,
No,
that
that's what I
just
mean.
yeah.
Because that's expensive. As someone who, I mean, I've given up on this, but let's say 12 years ago, well, 20 years ago, I started the journey. 12 years ago, I started the patent process to find, to build the better shower cap. Okay. I
Mm.
wanted to build the girlies a good shower cap. And the journey was so fraught and so expensive. And that just has to be one of the things that got left behind. Fun fact, you know how when you're doing a patent, anyone listening, you have to come up with comparable products, other things on the market, products that you are, related to. And at the same time, I was doing mine. Hairbrella was on her patent trajectory, and I remember seeing this. I was like, "This is brilliant. This is so exciting." And Hairbrella is a well, now it's a lot of products, but it's an outdoor hat. So it's a waterproof hat for Black women to keep our hair
I haven't seen the
in the weather.
Hairbrella. I gotta check
And
it out.
oh, you have not seen the hair umbrella? I'm obsessed. Oh
No.
my gosh. So yeah, she's a role. Like, we're all girlies within these streets trying to get our little products made. But she's great. You guys would love each other because you can put pony on and the hair umbrella.
I love it.
um,
Exactly. The Hairbrella
and
protects the pony.
oh no, but it's expensive. So when you talk about, I hope my ponytail makes a lot of money. What you're saying at first, I hope I first make my money back, and
Yes.
then make the money.
Yes, and I've been very, very, very strategic about how I'm spending my money. And so, because in that way, it's funny, I think moms can do anything. Like, I run the household budget. I've had to solve really, really big financial problems in our household. And so, when I look at like running a business, I'm like, oh, this is really very similar to, I mean, my whole household is a small business. And so I'm really smart about how I'm spending my money. So the money that I'm spending now for the patent is exclusively for the ponytail because that's going to be coming out first. And hopefully then the revenue from that can can cover some of those costs and then move forward with the next product that I think can really sell.
Love it. She's a girl with a plan. And you are so right. Being a mom is basically like being a small business owner, which is why we love this
Absolutely.
show, because the best way to help when you have, like you said, financial issues in your household is to have a separate string of income, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
So that's why I'm so glad you could talk to us today and tell us all about your amazing trajectory. Guys, and listen, let me make sure I have this right. You in the course of fewer than 3 years, I'm just giving you even a little bit more leeway. You went from none of this, no hair lady, to 120 million views and a product coming out and seven more on the way. Is that correct?
Nothing but God. Truly. I'm just a passenger.
Well, you are passionate, and we are glad you're on our Mompreneurs bus. Thank
Yes,
you
and I'm glad to
so
be here
much for
too.
being here with us.
Thank you for
Oh, tell
having
us where
me.
everyone can find. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. I'm so glad that you could take the time. Where can everyone find you, find your ponytail, and learn more about the work that you do?
So I've made this very simple. I am Mara S. Campo everywhere. So Mara S. Campo on all social media platforms. The website to purchase products is maraescampo.com. That's where we have the line of wigs right now, and the perfect ponytail, which I'm trying to trademark that also, is coming out soon.
The perfect ponytail. This is so exciting. Thank you. And this is your first interview about the perfect ponytail, right?
This is my first interview about this brand, and what a better place to do it. To be with a
Uh,
community of moms and entrepreneurs and women who are like-minded. Like, I love it. I love it here.
Oh, I love you here. So you heard her, everyone. MaraScampo.com. Thank you so much for listening to Mompreneurs. And as a reminder, a brand new episode goes live each Monday on Urban One Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Visit urban1podcast.com to learn more. That's urban, the number one, podcast.com. Mompreneurs is brought to you by the Urban One Podcast Network and MadameNoire. Created, produced, and hosted by me, Nancy Wren. Executive produced by Sarita Wesley, Allison McGovna, and Tanya Hoffler-Moore. Produced and edited by Jiminique Miller.